Troublesome trucks are iconic. They are pretty much a staple to Thomas at this stage, so it makes sense how they ended up with so much merchandise, one of which being the many variants in Take-Along. This image I made, called Truckopedia, will actually help me a lot throughout this video to pretty much give an in-depth look on all of the Troublesome trucks from the Take-Along era. None of the Take-and-Play ones, although I probably will look at them in the future. Hi, I'm JQ, and let's take a look at some Take-Along. When Take-Along was first introduced in America in 2002, it gave us this, the Sodor Mining Co. playset. Comes with a lot of stuff. However, the main thing we gotta note is the Troublesome truck that is included, who, according to Truckopedia, I've decided to call Chumpo. Now, as we'll see with later trucks, they start to follow a certain shape and pattern. However, since Chumpo was the first one, he doesn't really follow this pattern necessarily. So, what's going on with him? Well, let's take a look. So, here he is. Chumpo. In comparison, we'll do a truck who has a much more common formula which was used later. As you can see, Chumpo is much larger than the trucks of later. He's a little more boxy and he's a lot more gray. His running board and even his chassis are completely gray. Here's his face. It's pretty well done. Here's the back. And all your other sides. The most notable thing about him, though, is that he has a bit of an action. As you can see, you can flip his carload, so you can make it where he can have nothing inside of him, or you can give him coal by flipping that. It's a pretty nice play feature. The Sodor Mining Co. set was available all the way until 2009 when the range was discontinued, meaning you can get your hands on Chumpo pretty easily. However, the very next year, in 2003, the world was introduced to a brand new Troublesome face. This time, according to Truckopedia, he goes by Hopster. And here are Hopsters, two of them, because I have two. Because two are better than one, kind of. This one has a slightly worse face, but hey, that's no big deal. As you can see, compared to Chumpo, they look a lot different, and this one, Hopster, started the more traditional style of Troublesome trucks. So pretty much red running board and all. Black chassis. The white wheels, though, were exclusive to him. Interestingly, though, his prototype actually did have black wheels. He also came with a car, or a load of coal. I don't have it, but he did come with them, and, similar to Chumpo, he actually has his own little action. Observe. I don't know if you can see that, but he kind of rocks back and forth. And this one should do it too. Yeah. Pretty much. These guys are pretty nice looking too. They got great faces. However, there's one problem with them that doesn't make them as good. Here we have the two types of Take-Along truck. We have the original one that was used starting in 2002. And then we have this one, which was starting to be used around 2006 and would later be adopted by Take-and-Play. As you can see, on this track, the truck works pretty fine, you know. However, it's when we start putting them on the later track from 2006 where we start to have issues. As you can see, the front kind of drags because of the little lump right here, which has the mechanism to make him jump. It's not the greatest out there. However, if you want nice looking Troublesome trucks, then you probably shouldn't pass these ones up, because they still look pretty nice. Hopster would be re-released quite a few times as the years went by, his last release being sometime in 2008. However, since he was released by himself and not in a playset, Hopster is the most common of the Take-Along Troublesome trucks and is probably the easiest one to get at the moment. Oh yeah, and before I forget, that's his collector card. Doesn't have the same face, but whatever. In the years following, there wasn't really any new Troublesome trucks coming out. Chumpo and Hopster were your only two options for quite a while. That is until 2007, when these two rolled on scene. I'm of course referring to the Giggling Troublesome trucks, or as Truckopedia calls them, the Giggler and Rico. And here is the Giggling Troublesome trucks. Okay, now it's really just Rico and the Giggler, who is the actual Giggling Troublesome truck. I don't have him. So, we're just going to talk about Rico, and we'll talk about the Giggler off camera. So, first of all, let's compare him to Hopster. As you can see, they're pretty similar. Like I said, he kind of started the formula of the average Troublesome truck, and Rico follows it pretty well. The other thing about Rico is that he is the first Troublesome truck not to have any sort of gimmick, and it's the only one to take long to not have any. So he's kind of just your standard Troublesome truck, you know? He used to have I think he came with a coal load, which, again, I don't have, but either way, if you want a very normal Troublesome truck with, like, no gimmicks or anything, Rico is the one to go after, which, as you can see, and here's Chumpo. They all look a bit different in some way, and of course, yeah, he has black wheels now, and he has a nice looking face too. So yeah, that's Rico, and now we are going to look at the Giggler. This is the Giggler. As you can see, he has a fake coal load that cannot be removed. This is obviously because of the mechanism inside of him to make him play noise. Obviously, because of that, the wheels are also spaced out so you can fit the batteries. And he's, in general, a bit longer than Rico. And here's the sound he plays.
Oh, that one talks. It's kind of creepy.
The little button is red, and by pressing it, it makes the sound. He also has a new face, which is my favorite Troublesome truck face, if you didn't know that already. Unfortunately, there isn't really too much else to say about the Giggler. However, there is another way you can obtain him. You can buy him through the Working Hard gift pack, where, instead of Rico, you receive a clenched-faced Thomas. I think that's a pretty cool deal. Albeit, Rico is probably the best Troublesome truck, although the Giggler is probably my favorite. Now, if you want these guys, you're gonna have to pay a little more than Hopster and Chumpo. Rico is usually a bit cheaper though, but the Giggler does cost a little more. And that's about it. Take Along didn't make any more Troublesome trucks, and by that point it had pretty much been discontinued. Taking Place started up in around 2010, and new Troublesome trucks were being made moving forward. And, believe it or not, the Giggler managed to secretly sneak into Take and Play. Although, that's something we'll have to look at if we do look at them. I think that'll conclude this video. Thanks for watching.